Hello, everyone. Welcome to More Than Magic. We have a really special show. We all have our phones. Oh, no, I'm the only one that has my phone out. I am sharing this live. We had a little bit of a delay. Our studio is located behind a train yard, and so one of our guests was blocked behind that. So we're running late, but we're going to make up for it. I'm going to share this video, so please take a moment, you all who are watching, whoever's logged in, take a moment to like it and share it because you are in for a treat. So I'm going to let you ladies introduce yourselves. We'll start, you're closest to my right, so we'll start with you.
Hi guys, my name is Serah Falk. I go by like Serah Falk official on like all platforms, so that's me.
And what do you do, Serah Falk?
I do TikTok, so that's how everything started with me was just TikTok.
Okay, we'll get into it more depth later. And
Hi, my name is Kennedy Gibbons. I am a international runway fashion model. Anything. I'm trying to broaden my horizons, maybe tap into some styling, creative direction. So,
yes.
yeah, let me be your apprentice.
Yes. So there's so much that I want to talk to you all about, and I was trying to figure out like how to have this interview go because there's like a personal connection, but you know our audience doesn't know you, so I might ask you some questions like you already know that, but just go with it. Right. So it is so important. I think we can all agree to have ourselves represented in the media. That's whether it's TV, film, music. But especially in the creative arts, modeling, photography, those whole worlds. So both of you all have been modeling since very young ages. When did you start, Serah?
If I'm not mistaken, I started when I was 11 in Germany. My mom had like a little like model camp thing, and my mom modeled before me, so like it started there. And then when I finally moved back to the States, I just kept it going.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I didn't even do what I normally do at the onset of the show. Did you all get my message about the names? No? Okay, don't. Do you know the meaning of your name?
Yes, my name like Serah. It means oh my goodness, abundance, and I think something like that. Like my mom told me,
Okay.
and I looked it up, and like I know it means abundance of something.
Okay. We're claiming it, all the abundance. So started modeling when you were 11 in Germany and then came to the States and just kind of kept on from there.
Yeah, like I came to the States. I also swam for 17 years, so like I came here and I was like, all right, am I gonna swim? What do I do? Well, I had my little taste of modeling. I was like, I want to actually try to do that more. And then my sister went to like AI, and then like she met like Golden Sky, and I had my first casting there. And then after that show, I went to like a fashion show within like AI, and then that's when I met a couple girls from like this agency here, and then I went there and started modeling, and then I kind of took it from there.
Right. And for everyone who's watching, AI is the art institute. There's art institutes in most major cities around the United States, and we have one here in San Antonio. And now Kennedy, who I feel like I've known you forever. When did you start? What was your first experience with modeling, and how old were you?
I started modeling when I was, I want to say, 16. That's when it was like it started taking off professionally. My mom, like, she kind of looked at me one day and she was like, I need to start taking pictures of you. Like, I got to send these to somebody. I'm like, okay. And yeah, when we first moved to San Antonio, like, she got my first like portfolio. She took my pictures. We got them printed at Walgreens. And
I'm so glad you shared that though, because you started somewhere. It might not be where everybody would think, like an expensive photographer. It was straight up Walgreens.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had my little photo book, and we did research on agencies, and we actually found photographers. And my mom's like, I need to get you some professional pictures if we're going to send you somewhere. And they pointed me in the direction of my very first mother agency, developmental agency, Larry Nelson, where I met Serah.
Ah, wonderful. And time goes by so fast because now you're both in your 20s. So modeling is like a really tough industry.
Absolutely.
And because you get to wear glamorous clothing and you get to wear, you know, hair and makeup and all of these things, I think people think that what modeling is like kind of standing around and looking pretty. And even though you both started modeling, your careers have taken slightly different directions. But I want to talk to you about the work that it takes to be a model and what you have to put in. So, oh, I thought someone was entering the studio. So, what do you feel is the most important thing you want people to know about, like, the work?
You want to go first?
The work or the work ethic even? You're like, hold on, let me.
So I would say about the work and the work ethic, honestly, is your mindset, because I didn't know that I wanted to do modeling. When I was younger, I would see Kimora Lee Simmons, I would see Tyra Banks, I would see, you know, these really tall, beautiful women of color, and I'm just like, wow. And I always admired them, but it never crossed my mind. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And then when I got a taste of it, I was like, oh, I see, like, I'm a muse. Like, I help people's visions come to life. And when I realized the beauty in that, like, that completely changed my perspective. I was like, oh, I like this, because I like the joy that it brings people seeing. It's like, oh, we got that shot. Or, oh my gosh, this makeup looks so good. Oh, the hair, just chef's kiss. And it's just like, that's what brings me that joy to like keep coming back to the sets. And even if it's a bad day, or, oh, maybe the stylist was snarky, or the photographer was mean, it's just like the pictures still speak for themselves. Like, we're creating art, and that's where my heart is.
Right. What about you?
I'm not gonna lie, she really summed that all up for me.
You're like, that's it, we're done.
She
The show, it's a wrap.
She summed that up in a complete box with a bow on it for me. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. But it is, you know, I have a special place in my heart for models because I work so closely with them all the time. And a lot of the conversations that I hear are that sometimes models are not taken seriously because people feel like it's kind of like a frivolous thing. But maybe one of you can tell me, like, what an average day looks like if you're working on a project or a set or a shoot or film, whatever it is. What does that look like?
I would say it's a lot of hurry up and wait. I feel like that sums it up perfectly. This is speaking from somebody who's gone to Fashion Week castings in Milan. Like, you get up like 6, 7 a.m., get on that metro, get to however many buildings, read the addresses as best you can, hope you showed up to the right place. When you see that line that's about a mile long, you know you made it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you wait your turn, you see the client, you maybe walk, you maybe say a couple sentences, and that's it. They say thank you, and you go home. And that can take all day.
Right.
And you may never hear back from that client again. But it's okay, because you're going to keep doing it, because somebody's going to pick up. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, we want her. And it'll be worth it.
Yeah, it's always worth it. And then when you actually do get called back, the day of a shoot or a show, that's also a lot of hurry up and wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so much. It's like chaos, but it's like a good chaos. It's adrenaline. It's fulfilling. It's also like, sometimes it's disheartening. I got cut from my first show last year.
Oh.
Yeah. And they flew us out. We were in Aspen. I got cut from my first show. And I was like, and I mean, it was nothing that I had done. They were just saying that the wardrobe, they didn't want any black models in the white gowns that they had. And I happened to be one of those black models, and they had to swap me out. So, yeah.
Interesting.
I've actually had a little experience like that before. I don't know, like, actually where I first met Kennedy at, I'm never gonna forget this day ever in my life. It was like around the first San Antonio Fashion Week.
Oh, yeah.
I had gotten there. I was the second or first person there. Because I was like, my mom was like, my first time, my mom was like, you're going to get there early. So I'm sitting there. And I can't remember what time it started, but wherever time it started, I was there. And I sat there, and everybody else got called. Everybody else got, like, I remember when she went in, she got fitted. And I was just like, okay. And I was like the last person to get fitted. And I go, I'm putting the stuff on, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, you can leave. And as I'm leaving, I'm hearing that this person, and like he goes, oh, you know, she looked fine in it, but, you know, her skin color looked better in it. And I was like, and this is when I was a fresh new baby model, and that was my first little break. Broke me a little bit, and I was like, okay. So that's why you said that. I was like, yeah, I that was like my first experience of ever getting like cut. And it's like how it
And hearing the actual reference to your skin.
And that was a point in time where I was so, I didn't, like that point in time there, I was not happy with my skin color. I thought like I was too dark. I thought I wasn't gonna get picked for a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, it was a whole mental thing that I was going through at that point in time. And I had just moved back here. I think that point in time I was like 14, 15. So to hear that and being so young, it impacted me. But then as I got older and as I like started to like see people that I looked up to, they were like the same color as me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Right.
And I made it my business. That's my first time I got cut. I'm like, I'm not gonna get cut like that ever again.
Yeah. So then so both of you all started modeling and you've taken kind of slightly different directions. Like you're modeling runway and print and you have campaigns with various companies. I didn't know until recently that you were like a huge content creator on TikTok because I'm in my own little bubble. Golden Sky is like, oh, she's got like 1.5 million followers. So I'm curious for you, how did you segue or make the shift from modeling? And we kind of talked about this a little bit before the show, so share whatever you want. But the shift from modeling to saying, you know what, I'm going to take my attention over here and develop this.
It was I wanted to try something different. And also, I guess I got kind of tired for people not seeing me like for my worth, because you would go to class or like, you know, you'd go to these shows and I started to notice like a pattern. Like I would go to the show and like nothing against anybody else, I can walk.
No, you know your strengths.
She can.
Yeah,
like, she can.
I love runway. Print was, you know, I like print, but runway was my thing. And you would go to the shows and you would see like other people, they get like all like the gowns and all this, and then I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to get my outfit, and then my outfit would be at the bottom of the barrel things. And I thought that was like just one show, but then it started to be the next and the next and the next, and it got to the point where I was just like, when something starts making me question my worth,
it's time to go.
It's time to hang it up, like, you know, like, because I'm not gonna have something that's supposed to, like, I'm supposed to love and I love doing, start making me question myself. So then when COVID and everything happened, then I saw TikTok and I was just like, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of the people that was like, I am never doing TikTok, that's for children, I'm not gonna do it. And then I was just like, no, let me just try it, I'm bored, let me just do it. And then it started taking off, and when I started making videos, I realized it wasn't to fulfill anybody else. I like doing it.
Yeah.
Like it was never about the views, it was never about the comments. I would look at something that I created and was like, this makes me happy. I'm not questioning myself. I'm not doing a whole show and coming back home and being like, man, well, why wasn't I good enough to have this and that? And that's one person that always made me feel like, not necessarily validated, but like seen was Golden.
Yes, we love you, Golden Sky.
Love you.
He said he was going to watch today, so maybe he's out there. Yes.
He always made me feel seen. He would always like, and I would talk to him about this kind of stuff, and he was just like, what? Really? But he was one that always made me feel seen. And I might have kind of hung up my heels, but if he asked me tomorrow, hey, we had a show, where you want me?
Right.
Because you build that repertoire up with people, and it's like, I understand at the end of the day I'm supposed to be a model and stuff like that for somebody else's muse, but it just, for me, after a while, it made me start questioning myself, and it was just, it's time for me just to hang it up. And then TikTok happened, and I was like, okay, I like this avenue.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, Kennedy. I mean, we're all chocolate sisters sitting here, right? So we know that it's very common, like you get to a set and they're like, oh, we don't have your shade of makeup, so we're going to mix up something really quickly. Or, oh, we don't know what to do with your hair. How do you deal with that sort of thing? Do you feel like it still happens? Because now you're at a higher level. Okay.
Absolutely. So it's so funny, like now that I can say that I've worked in like the European market, I've been overseas, I've noticed that they tend to take more consideration into black hair than Americans. This is my personal experience, but also seeing what I've gone through and some of my other model friends have gone through, it's still happening. And it happened to me recently. I got heat damage for the first time. And Yeah, it happened on set. I had to have braids installed for a shoot, and the hairstylist blew my hair out to stretch it for the braids, and never came back. And I had to cut my hair again, which I'm fine with. I shave my head like every 4 to
Same.
5 business days. But it was just, excuse me, the fact that that trust, I can never have that trust. Like I felt like I almost, because it was a black woman who did my hair. So it's like it doubled down on it. I was like, ow. So I just felt like I can't trust anybody else with my hair. I don't want to have that sort of feeling like of being stingy with it, because I will always educate. Like if I've had hairstylists ask me, it's like, oh, what do you use? Like tell me so I can add it to my arsenal. And I will gladly tell them, it's like, oh, I use this, this is how I use this, I use this tool. And yeah, but as of recently, I think I kind of took initiative into my own hands. And I mean, I'm wearing a headscarf right now, but I locked my hair.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
I locked my hair, and this is my first time ever doing this hairstyle, and I'm loving it, honestly. I'll show y'all pictures and stuff after. But I wanted to mimic my loose natural hair, so it's like kind of like the high top still. So I want to be able to just like show up and be like, yeah, this is it. Like, you don't gotta touch it.
Like you gotta work with what's here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, even with my loose fro, it's like I'd have to worry about like curl creams, and like I would like coil my hair and like perm rod sets and sidewalks. I was like, I just mixed it with some water, moisturize it, and I'm good.
Well, and I love that you said that there's so much power in showing up somewhere and just being like, this is me, this is it. Like, I remember Victoria Seabrooks, when she decided she was going to go natural completely and not allow people to straighten her hair.
Right.
And it's scary to take that kind of stand,
It is.
but there's so much power in it, because there's someone that always is going to come behind you, that it enables them the space to say, you know what, you can't straighten my hair, or you can't, throw a wig on it, but you're not straightening my hair.
Right.
So kudos to you for making that kind of decision and starting your lock journey too. I had no idea. I can't wait to see.
I love that. When you say that actually, do you remember we did that show in Austin?
Which one?
The one where
South by Southwest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You said that, and that triggered a memory for me. We had did this show in Austin, and I remember like the guy, he loved black models, and one of the things he said, he was just like, I don't want none of their hair to be touched. And I remember this one girl, her name was
Brinkley.
Brinkley.
That's
There you
my
go,
girl,
Brinkley.
Brinkley.
Her hair was gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Oh my
Them
goodness.
curls.
Long, luscious curls, gorgeous. And I remember like we're sitting there and she's in the chair and like they're blowing her hair out. And I was like, remember King was like, oh, look at her blonde like you. I was like, oh yeah. And then all of a sudden we see, and we look at each other and
They
went,
cut her hair?
they straightened it.
Straightened it.
Oh.
And like, oh, you hear the, because it
The
was
sizzle.
It was like they use a heat protectant,
Right.
but not for our hair.
Right.
And like we looked at each other and we were like, no.
Yeah.
And I remember like afterwards she like ran into the bathroom and we like it was like a little like a black girl moment, because we all
Instinctive.
Yeah, like we all went in the corner.
Because we always know when we need support.
Oh, yeah,
We hone in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We all ran to the corner where she was at in the bathroom and she was just crying, and we were like, do you want a hug? And she was like, they straightened my hair, like it's never been so straight, like it was burning. And like from then we were all standing there like, you're not touching none of our hair.
Right.
And it actually caused an issue with the hair people. And then when the designer came out, he was like, what
did
happened
that?
to her? Yeah, he was like, who did that? He was actually pissed off. And he was like, I told you guys you're not gonna touch any of their hair. And I think sometimes, like with shows, I started to realize, even if they don't 100%, like the makeup artists, if they don't 100% know how to do black hair, they'll still like, I think they like to play in it to a point. And it was like,
Experimental.
they want to experiment, but then you can't experiment with somebody's head like that.
Yeah.
And after that, I think, didn't she cut her hair after that?
I think, well, I mean, she still has gorgeous hair
Yeah,
now.
her hair is beautiful. Yeah, her
Right.
hair is still gorgeous.
She's like a hair influencer. Like,
Oh,
I love
okay.
that for her. Like,
Yeah.
Her curls are gorgeous. But yeah, that was a stressful day.
Yeah,
I
that
remember
was-
that.
yeah.
I remember that exactly. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh, yep.
As
Took
soon
you
as
back.
Yeah, as soon as you said it, took me right back to that. I was like, I remember I sat there and it looked at me because I had like fro.
Yeah,
and
she had her fro out, and then I'm looking at her. I'm like,
I sat there and I was like, y'all are not touching me.
Yeah. Good for you. No, you
Yeah.
have to take a stand sometime. Now, in terms of like booking shows, like, well, so I know your mother, and I know that your mother was very much like when you started out modeling, she was very, very like present and around. But I know sometimes in the industry, there are like creepers. There are people around who do not have good intentions, who want to exploit young models. So what is your advice for like a young model who's coming into the industry to keep herself safe and to, keep alert? Like, what are some things that you would recommend?
I would say do your research. Do your research. If you're looking into shooting with somebody and they see people they've worked with, reach out to those people. We are in the world of social media. DM somebody and say, hey, I want to work with this person, but what was your experience? Just to get an insight. Because there's a lot of creepers, and I've had my fair share of situations with photographers, and I wish I would have went out and asked somebody so I wouldn't have had to go through what other girls go through.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say do your research and don't be afraid to ask questions.
ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Ask a lot of questions. And when in doubt, bring a buddy. Like, even if you're underage, bring your mom, bring your dad, bring your brother. Bring somebody that makes you feel safe and comfortable, because any, like, well-respected and decent human being would not have a problem with you having a friend, a chaperone, moral support, a ride. It's just like, just don't get in the shot. That's the only thing.
Right.
But
Exactly.
yeah, research as well. Also, like she says, we're in the age of social media. You can ask anybody anything at any time. And it's kind of scary. But
Right.
use that to your advantage.
Right. But I'm glad you said that, because about bringing a friend, and if I wanted to speak on something I've seen, like if there is a photographer that wants to work with any model, not even just an underage one, if they really have a problem with you bringing a guest, like that's just not a good look. Right, don't go. And I'm stressing that because I know we'll have like young girls who watch this and are like, well, maybe, maybe they're flattered. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth.
Those pictures are not worth it if you get them.
Exactly.
Right? That's
if you get them.
Exactly.
Right.
I remember I did a shoot, and I was so excited for this shoot. The guy was kind of, but I a couple of my friends had shot with him before, so I didn't think anything about it. And I went, I shot, never got those pictures. Never got those pictures. And I was like, but he said, oh, I lost the drive, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my last photo shoots too, and I was like, ooh, okay.
No, that's why it's so important to talk to other people, because there are some photographers who also will just shoot just to have a collection of pictures for themselves, and that's not good. It's creepy. Yeah. So, Kennedy, I want to talk to you specifically about some of the work that you have been doing, some of the places that you've gotten to travel to, some of the experiences you've had, because, the world is like this huge place. And when you get out and see it, you realize there's so much more out there. And modeling has opened up that opportunity for you.
Absolutely.
So what are some of let's start with this. What's your, you can't really say a favorite project though. That's probably not PC. Let's not do that. Let's just, I'm like, hold on. Let's just talk about some of the work that you've had the opportunity to do. And if you can, brands that you've worked with, countries you visited. I mean, I follow you, so I know all this, but because I love you.
Where do I start? Okay, so I I started out here in Texas, San Antonio, Texas. That's where everything was born.
Yes.
Branched out to Los Angeles, branched out to New York City, and I am in a few other states now, signed in a few other states, Florida. I'm signed in Seattle. I'm signed in... Anyway, I've lost track.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Been busy. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I've been trying. And I started getting signed overseas the middle of last year. No, that's a lie. 2 years ago. And my first country I visited was Greece. I went to Athens, Greece. I was there for, how long was I there? I was there for a couple months, and I worked so much. I did not know that they did not take weekends off.
Oh,
I worked a lot.
that's good to know.
But they had, like, when people say that the most, like, the creatives they have over there, they're a different breed. And they, like, they mean it. Like, you see it in the work. Like, I would even see people on the street, like, the tattoos that they had were art. It's just, like, everything. They put their effort into everything. And it shows, like, all of my pictures that I've received back from even just, like, smaller brands, like, they look like real deal, like what you would see in magazines and billboards in the States.
Right.
So, yeah, I did a 10-page spread in Elle Grease.
I remember that one.
That
It
was
beautiful.
cool.
Yeah.
That was last February. That was crazy.
I did see this. I'm not gonna lie to you, I cried.
Oh.
No, I did too. I did too.
No, stop.
Yeah.
I did too, kind of. Yeah.
No, we're so proud of you.
Crazy. It was just a wild accomplishment, like, and being able to hold that. Like, I have a physical copy, and it's like I can hold that in my hands, and be like, I'm in here.
Yeah.
And after that, I went to Italy. I worked in Italy for a little bit. Did a few Fashion Week castings. I did like some showroom for Robert. How do you say the last name? Cavalli.
Oh, Roberto Cavalli. Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I met
got
him.
Italian.
Did you get to meet him?
No.
Oh, he's an interesting fellow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did like some showroom work for him. And after that, I went to London. London was gorgeous. And yeah, I think I circled back to the States. And once I did my work here, or more work here, I realized that I think I belong in Europe. I just, I feel like I do, even though, like, maybe modeling may not last forever, but being able to see that because of modeling, it shows me, it's like, oh, okay. So besides that, it's like I can still go here and just exist
Right.
and be loving it. But I appreciate everything that modeling has done for me because it has thickened my skin. It's giving me real world advice. It's giving me experiences that not a lot of people my age can say that they had, good or bad. And it's made me me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm so glad you decided to grace us and come back a little bit because I really thought once you were in Europe, I was like, we're never going to see her again. So it's good to see you here, while you're here. I know it's not forever.
It's still home. It's still home.
Yeah.
I have to. I mean, San Antonio really, like, it did birth my modeling career, even though people wouldn't think, like, we're not up there with New York, of course, but we got some talent here.
Absolutely.
Like, do not sleep on San Antonio because, I mean, hello, this room alone.
Yes. Yes.
Do not sleep on San Antonio, Texas.
Right, right. Well, and I think that there's kind of a tendency for people to just think that because you live in a smaller town or a smaller market, but that has nothing to do with the actual individual. Like, if you're a creative soul, it doesn't mean you could put somebody on Pluto and they're going to create something out of nothing. So I think that's the thing to remember. Like, there are talented people everywhere you go. They just may not have had the exposure yet or the access. And I think this room definitely, proves that. Now, you're reaching audiences around the world in a little bit of a different way. Like I said, I just learned that you have this huge following on TikTok. So I know that you started doing it during COVID. You were bored, but because you're creative, you were like, I'm not going to just sit around and be bored. I'm going to make something. But it takes work to keep that up. So how do you continue to, create content, and where do you get your ideas from?
So, I'm not gonna lie, back in like the olden days of TikTok, it was a lot like easier because like it was, and that's also something that's actually kind of interesting to talk about now because like in the olden days of TikTok, it was actually creating things. Like it was, you use a sound, but like you put your own like little spin on it, but it was like your own, but you were actually still putting effort into it. I've realized over like the past like 2 years, TikTok is starting to like, it's not as creative. Like I can do the exact same thing somebody else does, but because they might look a certain way, like when I mean like clothing wise. I've never been one thing I'm personally proud of. I've never had to go on people. They just how they like to grow. Me personally, I'm not this kind of creator, but I've never been the type of person to do something like half naked and for views.
Right.
And I realize nowadays that's pretty much all you have to do to get views. And people that actually make real content don't get views anymore. And so, I mean, sometimes it definitely takes like a shot of like at your creative like juices, and it definitely has mine too. Like right now, I'm in a kind of like a drought. Like I'm kind of like but that's a little drought. Like I have so many like different ideas and stuff like for creating content, and sometimes it's not about the views. Sometimes it's not about any of that. It's just about like what you want to create and what you want to see come to light, and it's just. I can't even like really explain. Like it's.
Do you feel like it? Oh, go ahead.
Yo, no. What are you gonna say?
I was just gonna, because you did kind of like this, which do you feel like it's like feeding like your inner child, like it make you like your happy place when you like create something original?
When I create something, even like when I create something and it's like, I made that, and I like that. It's just, and it's gonna like live on like forever, no matter what views and stuff it gets. It's gonna live on forever, and it's just like. I wish like a lot of more content creators would like really understand that, and they wouldn't just churn out things just for like views and to get paid and stuff. I wish people would actually create content to fuel themselves,
right?
Not for
to
anything
fuel
else.
That bank account.
Exactly, and that's all I see nowadays now. And like I'm still doing TikTok, but I'm also working on a lot more stuff behind the scenes.
Right.
Like I don't want to be known just as doing TikTok for the rest of my life. Like I have so much other stuff that like I'm like working on and stuff like that. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not working on like designing or anything like that, but I love cargo pants, and I'm working on like military cargo pants, stuff like that. I want to actually, when it comes like to merch, I don't want to slap my name on a hoodie and say this is merch.
Right.
I want to actually create something.
Design elements.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to make something that somebody else can throw ideas on. Like I've always been such a creative person, and to create something that's going to live on for a lot longer than just something that's going to churn out views is way more important to me than just churning out views and just getting a paycheck off of it.
Right. So creating anything it takes a lot of energy, like mental energy, physical energy. I had a model here on Thursday, and we were talking about, even just learning how to pose. There's an art form to it. There's a science to it. You have to have like awareness of your body. So it's a lot of work, whether you're in front of a camera, whether you're on a runway, catwalk. So what do you do to like pull back and pour into yourself? Because you can't just go, like I'm speaking. I'm the main one I'm going to listen to my own advice. But we can't really just go constantly. So especially as Black women, we have to pour into ourselves. So like, what do each of you do to kind of recenter yourself, collect your thoughts, be alone time? How does that look for you?
This.
You do your hair?
Yeah. This right here.
Honestly, I kind of agree. It's kind of like a therapeutic. It's just like no thoughts, just hair.
Yeah, you sit there, you put on a show that you've been dying to watch, and you just sit there and you just do it. And
then a couple hours later, it's like, oh, I'm pretty.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I take pictures, I look different.
Right.
And it's just like it's just like and for me personally, just being literally my entire TikTok being surrounded by my hair, like that's something I was like, you know what? I need a break. It's been almost 5 months since my fro has been in retirement, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I do not plan on taking it out anytime soon.
Right.
Because it got to a point where I just felt like I wasn't successful without the fro, and it's kind of hard when you walk around somewhere and someone says, "Oh, hey, there's Miss Fro," and there's no, "Oh, there's Serah."
Right.
So my mental to get myself back into like myself, I was like, I'm gonna try bohemian locks. I'm gonna try a wig. I might do braids. I'm this year I decided to live for myself and not what's underneath. Like I want somebody to look and be like, man, she's cool. Not just because of what's on my head.
Right.
So that was my own mental, and I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I'm incognito. People does not know me, and I love it.
Right. Well, because people probably saw your hair
before they
before they
Yes.
saw you, and I think for Black women that is a very real thing.
It is.
I mean, when
Oh,
I
very
had
much.
hair, it was very much like, can I touch it? Can I play in it?
We're
Can I pull it? Can I?
objectified.
Very much so.
Very much, yeah.
It's crazy how, and it really started messing me because like going out and taking pictures of somebody that's like, oh, you know from TikTok? No, I just want to take pictures because your hair. And it got to the point it's like, okay, these people don't know me from TikTok. They just want to take a picture of me because of my head. And it was just like, okay, like I couldn't go out to eat. And then like you mind, I'm honest to God, I'm kind of a private person. Honest to God, I'm low-key really shy. And so like I would walk around the mall minding my business, and I got to the point I had my headphones and stuff in, but I'm still watching my surroundings. I'm getting snaps from my friends. Oh, you're at North Star? I'm like, no. And people have like them snap maps. I'll be on like the snap map. I've been followed and stuff before. Once again, not because of who I am, but because of my hair.
That's scary.
Very much, very much so. Yeah, I got to the point I was just like, like it's not fun when you're walking around just to have a day and my guard has to be up because I have to slap somebody because I'm turning around, I'm getting snatched.
Yeah, we can't have you going to jail.
Oh yeah, because like I would get snatched. I would walk and people would like
Just
I
pull
would
it
get
with that.
snatched, and I was like, you know, I'm the wrong one. You ain't gonna snatch me.
Right,
So,
right.
like, it's reflexes, and
Yeah.
it got to the point I was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. And then on the TikTok side, I thought if I didn't have the fro, I wasn't gonna have the views. And it got to the point I was like, you know what, if I don't have the views and stuff, I'm just not gonna have the views. The checks still roll in. I'm making content that I personally like, not because of what everybody else wants to see the fro. And no, eventually it's gonna come back, but that's gonna be on my terms, not when everybody else wants it to come back.
Speak on it, yeah. And then so you kind of the same thing, like when you need to like decompress, you go home and just twist your hair or wash it or do a deep condition. Because I know, like, I think you and I have been on set for like 12 hours before. I mean, there are days that you just leave and you go home and you're just exhausted and you need something to kind of help you just unwind. So it's hair for you too?
Yeah, I feel like that I've learned that I take so much pride in my hair. I think after I stopped cutting it and I actually learned to like appreciate it and figure out like what it likes, how I like to wear it, what it likes. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. And modeling, it has shown me that, that, you know, black hair, it doesn't get as cherished as like we cherish it. And, you know, there'll be times on set where it's like, it's getting yanked, it's getting brushed, it's getting pulled, it's getting broken. And I just felt like I have to heal that first. And then the rest of me will like follow through. It's like, because I feel like, I don't want to speak on all black women, but me specifically, I felt like I used my hair as more of me. Like if my hair wasn't right, like I just
Everything's off.
yeah. I was like
Same.
no. I was
Yep.
like I can't. So it's like
Yeah.
me like nurturing, nourishing it, and being like, okay, it's normal, it's healing. Like I got my cornrows in, I got my twists in, I got, you know, my shower cap on with my hot 6 oils.
Right.
It's like, and I'll maybe like put on a podcast, maybe listen to some, just hearing like background noise while I'm doing that. I'm just like, oh, okay, no thoughts, just hair.
Yeah. No, it's powerful. It really, really is, especially for us. I mean, I think all women have a connection with our hair, but like historically, the things that we've been subjected to and the beauty standards that we've been, you know, told, like, you have to conform to this to be beautiful, which is why I am always so happy and excited to see like black models and, you know, whether it's walking down a runway or on the cover of a magazine or even just showing up in something that just is posted on Facebook. Like we need to see ourselves reflected in one another.
Absolutely.
In our short hair, our curly hair, our big hair, our loose hair, our 4C hair, our 3B hair, whatever it is, you know, our chocolate skin, all of it is so beautiful. I always get like choked up when I talk about this, but like we're so beautiful. But you know, for a very long time, we've been told that we're not. So, and I guess that's what I want to talk about too. Like, did you all ever feel at any point, I always kind of find a way to bring up like imposter syndrome because it's something that a lot of people suffer from, where you've done the work, you've showed up, but you still kind of feel like, I don't know if I really belong. Have either of you experienced that?
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like a lot, because like this since back when I was swimming. Like I've been swimming for 17 years, and like I'm a fish out of water, and it's crazy because every single swim team I was ever on, I was only the black one all the time, and not one time had I ever felt accepted in it because I would always get, "Oh, you swim?"
Right.
And it was like, okay, I know what you're trying to say,
Right.
but okay. And I would show up fastest one. I was the back end. So at the very end to win that race, I was the one that would win that race, and I never felt like I belonged. I never got the, "Oh yeah," I never got any of that. And not to this day, I still never got that. Like when I started working where I work now, I started outside, and I remember there was a guy, and he had asked me, "Oh, so what do you have to do like to get this job? Because working on base is kind of hard." And so I had to tell him like, "Oh, you get lifeguard certified, whatever." And he went, "Oh, and I was like, "What do you mean? Like what?" And I guess like it was like I forgot what exactly he said, but it was something to the fact of black people can't swim, and it was like okay. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, to this day, I go to work. I'm still the only black person that works there, and I do what I'm supposed to do. I come home, and I still feel like I don't belong, and that's something I've gotten to the point like I understand. I have to like live with it because it's been happening ever since I started when I was. What,
We
5?
don't have to live with it though. We
and
don't.
Like, I don't live with it, but I like that. Let me change the word. I don't live with it. I don't let it affect me.
Okay.
Yeah, like I don't let it affect me. I don't let it bother me. I come in, I leave, because at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to be there like my entire life. Let's be honest, it's just with the medical insurance, and so it's.
I'm not mad at it. That's very responsible.
Yeah, and back when I was little though, it bothered me.
Right.
I quit swim teams. In Germany, I quit swim teams. I came here. I wasn't bad. I knew what I was doing. Same thing, and it's just I'm not gonna lie. Because of that is why I started modeling. I came here on a USA swim team. I tried out. I did what I was supposed to have done, and the coach treated me bad. The people treated me bad, and it was my first tryout. And I was just like, "Yeah, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore." Once again, I felt like it was
Making you question.
It was questioning myself. It was questioning, "Am I actually this good?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm not. Is it?" So then I turned that into a certification, and now I sit on a stand all day.
Right.
So it's just steps, and that was just a step that I had to go through. And now it doesn't. I don't let it affect me.
Right. But it's a very real thing. I mean, I have friends who literally are like professors with PhDs, and they still are like, I feel like I don't fit and belong. I'm like, you went to school for 95,000 years, like you belong. But so for you, Kennedy, like when you walk into a space where it's, maybe a lot of models and no one looks like you, do you still have that feeling sometimes, even at the level that you're at?
I would say that I do, but to an extent. Like, I feel like if I were to walk in to a casting and I see a bunch of like blonde-haired, blue-eyed people, I'd be like, they have a type that they're looking for. It might not be that type, but I'm still here.
Right.
So let me just go. Like, just don't absorb it too much.
Exactly.
But
let it roll off your back.
Right, and that's what like kind of the beauty in modeling is. It's like it's so harsh that you just learn to like roll with the punches. And I mean, I feel like my imposter syndrome kind of came with modeling as well, because my initial reason for starting modeling was to get over my social anxiety. When I was in high school, I was bullied. I was lanky, and like I don't know, people just like to talk about me because I was always alone and stuff.
No, they saw your future greatness and they were trying to like pull you down.
Exactly what it
Didn't
was.
work, people. It didn't work.
It didn't, because that was like, I was like, okay, why are they staring at me? Why are they talking about me? Why are they talking like at me and not to me?
Yeah.
And I saw modeling as an opportunity to take that and change my focal point. And it's like, yeah, they're supposed to be looking at me. Like,
There you
I'm
go.
on the stage. Like, hello?
Yes,
Look at me and pay me.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was like me getting into modeling. I was like, wow, like I finally found this confidence. Like I can actually walk out into a crowded street and not panic.
Yeah.
And then I'll walk into agencies and I'll see like all of their boards with all their women, all their models, and like nobody looks like me. And I've been, it's not that I've been told, but it's like you can see it sometimes where it's like they already have their token black girl. And I've also felt at times that I'm not like black enough. I'm not dark enough to be like marketed as, you know,
Right.
that black girl. Because I mean,
There's also like the fetishization of
Yeah,
black skin.
it
So it's
is.
like, yes, you're black, but we want you to look like
darker.
right,
And
right.
it's like, and I understand. I want every shade of black
yes,
to be appreciated. Every shade.
but truly appreciated.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like not just for, it's like, oh no, it's because like they're able to work these models like more often or whatever the case may be. And it's like, I still know I have a good walk, I have a good face, I have a good work ethic. Give me a chance.
Yeah.
Can I say good? Can we say great, please?
Yeah.
Like, come on, it's just like you.
But I love
do
that
your
you
thing.
said you just show up, and there's so much power in that, just showing up, even if you question, because, you know, we belong anywhere we want to be. Anywhere we decide to place our bodies, we deserve to be there. But it is challenging sometimes to just show up as yourself and kind of wonder, like, how people are processing your existence, which is a crazy thing if you think about it. But the fact that you just show up, and I think that's what it takes to be a successful model. You just have to keep showing up, because it is very, it's rough.
It is.
You know, the rejection. And that's what I wanted to ask you about. I know you said that you got cut from a show, and that was like your first time with that happening. But overall, in the industry, there are people who say no a lot.
Of course.
So how do you process that? Like, what do you do to kind of, do you just give yourself pep talks? Do you...
You want to go first?
Oh, no, you got this one. You got this one.
I would just say it is a lot of internal like self-talk because sometimes, but with modeling, it's also with the whole hurry up and wait, that also comes in the regards of answers. So I could go to a casting today at noon. The show is next week. Monday comes by, no email, no call, no text. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh, guess they had the show. And then it's just like, that's just how you process it. It's just like,
yes, yes.
Right.
It's just like, oh, okay, I guess that's fine. So, I mean, it's like a subtle rejection. And it's just like, you're too busy already like figuring things out. Or, you know, sometimes you are waiting for that email. You are waiting for that call. It's like, oh, I can't wait for them to call me back. Then they don't. It's just like, oh, well, now what?
Right, but you just keep showing up. You go to the next casting, you go to the next,
But it's, I don't know, I guess I kind of appreciate modeling in that way because when you have expectations, you kind of, you greater your chances of getting your hopes like crushed. I would say that.
Exactly.
Because I mean, I remember my first times like starting to get emails. It's like, oh, you have a casting. Oh, you're getting a booking. Oh, this and that. And it's like, oh, okay. I went to a casting for this. Like, did they reach back out? And then it's just like, oh no, they didn't. It's just like, what do you
Like,
mean?
how rude.
What do you mean? So it's just like, you know, don't ask sometimes, and it's just like they'll let you know when they need you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's been my best way of like going about it. It's like they know where to find me. And, you know, I showed up, they saw me, I saw them. I leave it up to that.
Yeah. So what has your like favorite thing been about having like the exposure? Like your exposure is mainly online, your exposure is in magazines and campaigns. What does it do for you to like see yourself out in the world?
Mine was like the impact it had on little girls.
Yes.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I would be walking through like I remember once I was at HEB and I walked to the car and this little girl went wee 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 and I was like I heard some like little screaming and she was in the car and she was like, hi, I know you from TikTok. I love your hair. Can I get a picture of you. And then like I took a picture with her. And then this other time, I was at like I was at another HEB all the time.
I'm like, there's a theme here.
And I remember this little girl that she walked up and I felt this, and I turned around and she was just like, she was crying, and I was like, why are you crying? And she was like, I really like your hair. And then I was like, oh, thank you, sweetie. And then like she just went on this little story time, and she was telling me how like at school like they told her like she couldn't like wear her hair a certain way, and like I was like, honey, if you want to wear your hair in braids to the floor, do that. If you want to wear your fur out, do that. Don't let anybody put you in a conformed box. You are bigger than any box. Right. And she was just like, thank you. And her mom was sitting there. Her mom was like, she's been following you around the store the entire day. And it just, that was another reason that kept me going. I would look at like my duets and I would see like a bunch of like little girls and they'd be like, Mom, you're here. And like, for me, that made me feel good. And that's what made me just want to keep going with it. Because I was like, I'm inspiring like a lot of like, people my age and older, but a younger generation to embrace what makes them different instead of be feeling like sad or feeling like judged because they're different. And like, it was like, honey, if you want to walk out with purple hair, walk out and command whatever stage, store, moment, like you live in the moment. And to know that I've been able to like do that to a lot of people really makes me feel nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, and I think we all have the little girl still inside of us that wanted to see that when we were younger.
Exactly.
I saw a post and it almost made me tear up. And it said, your younger you would be obsessed with you right now.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, you're right. Because it's like literally everything that I would see in other people, like I took. And I was like, I want to be that as me, like a little mosaic of like these nice chunks of people that I've seen growing up. I was like, I want to embody that as well because I saw it. Because that's how it starts. You have to visualize it because I would have never imagine me on a magazine. And now I'm in a magazine. But it's like now I see it, it makes sense. I was like, oh. So it's like it would make sense to other people too, other people that look like me. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yes. Well, that's why I was so excited. Like when I saw you all at the event, I'm like, oh my goodness, they're both here at the same time in town. There's some kind of stars aligning. Like they have to come together. And I was like, do you all mind being on this show together? Because I don't think I'd be able to get you here together any other time. It was like divine alignment. But for you all to both be young, I mean, you're both in your early 20s and you're doing things in your own way. Like of course, we all have kind of like a loose model we have to follow to do certain things, but you're very unique in how you show up. Like Kennedy, I've noticed, so you just did a campaign with Birkenstock.
I did.
And it's so funny because I have always said I'm never buying Birkenstocks. And then I saw you and I was like, hold on, Kennedy. I'm like, wait, Kennedy's? Okay, well, maybe I'll buy a pair. And I really, as a grown woman in her mid-40s, I literally had that thought. But that just shows the power. And of course, I know you and love you, but that just shows the power of your presence and showing up somewhere. You can kind of sway in a positive way. We're using Birkenstock, but it could, your presence could do that with anything. Just by showing up when someone being able to relate to you. That's power.
I love that. And being able to find power in all things, like even if it's just a photo of me, like that is like of a small child with like maybe same skin complexion as me, maybe same hair type as me.
Right.
Saw that little picture up in Nordstrom. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like, that was enough. That was all. That's all for me. Like that's what fulfills me. Like even creating pretty pictures, that's all nice and fun and stuff. It's cool. And I mean, my mom took pictures of me in front of the advertising.
I love it.
So
She's so proud.
It's cool. But I wouldn't say it's really for me anymore. Like in the beginning it was, but then I was like, who am I really doing this for? It's like it still brings me joy, of course. Yeah. But I can go back and reflect, and any time that like I see that like like advertising is being shared, or somebody sends me a picture. It's like, oh, I found you in New York City, or it's just like people commenting. It's like, whoa, and like even random strangers. I went on Birkenstock's page, and I just looked at a few comments under the picture of me, and some random lady was like, wow, what a pretty lady. I was just like, thanks.
Yeah.
And yeah, just knowing that you can bring light, joy, acknowledgement in anything, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I personally love that because like now, like I think I love that because like my future kids can look at your pictures one day and
Yes.
be like, Mom, I want to be like her when I grow up.
That's
Like,
a
yeah,
real
that's
thing,
T.T.
though.
Kennedy.
I love that.
Auntie Kennedy, right? That's Auntie Kennedy.
It's like because like there's so many people just walk by that picture and so many little girls walk by that picture and said, Mom, I want to be her when I grow up. And then you were that age saying that about somebody else.
Yeah.
It's
a
like
cycle.
It's a cycle.
But I want to continue that good
Exactly.
cycle. Like, I don't want to like showcase anything crazy, because I wouldn't want to be like, you don't want chaos in your life. You don't want any
Right.
type of chaos in your life. So anything that you put out as a person, whether that be your voice, your words, your imagery, like any of that, like just be nice about it. Like, be peaceful about it. Like, you can still like speak your truth, speak your power in a peaceful way. Like,
And I love that neither of you has like mean girl energy. Because that is a very real thing when you are in the fashion industry, modeling, media, anything where you have like attention. You're making a face like,
like it's way too common, but it's like, who has time for that?
I'm saying.
But how do you, because, you know, I've been around you all peripherally and, you know, up close, and you've always, that's who you are. But how do you maintain that? How do you keep that part of you? Because we also know that people change. There are some people who enter the industry and they're normal, and then later they're like complete monsters. I've seen it happen. So how do you keep yourself like intact?
I say one, kill 'em with kindness, and two, I treat people how I want to be treated, and that's kind of just what I go off of. Like I believe in karma. If I treat you ugly, that's gonna come back on me. So at some point in life, and so it's like I'm not gonna do that. Like I went to Atlanta, and
Enough said.
they flew me out there to be a part of this panel of this app, and I remember. Like it was people that my guy represented, and then these other people. And I remember one girl that came. Her name was Brianna, and like I was like, "Hi, I like you." And we were like the same. I'm not gonna lie, she reminded me of you. And like we were like we clicked. And there was a bunch of other girls there. She was the only one I came out talking to. None of the other girls was like from Atlanta and stuff. Nobody ever said, "Oh, hey, I'm this." No, we would get on the sprinters and they'd be like. And we were like, we're all here
sharing the vehicle.
Yeah, literally, we're all doing the exact same thing. We're all promoting the exact same app.
Like, y'all are on the same team. Why are we not buddies?
Nope. Our group, like we had brought with us, it was like 4 of us. And we were all, oh, hey, trying to talk to them and stuff. They were like, hey. They made sure we got, like, all the sprinters were nice, but they had, like, the BMW sprinter. They made sure, like, they would get up early to go and get into that sprinter. And we were just like...
Oh, they was catty with it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then when we would get up and get in the sprinter, they would kind of sit there like, what if we got to get in that other one? And it opened my eyes to it. I was like, wow, why we have to be like that? Like, we're all here doing the exact same thing. Why can't we all be unified? And also for all of us to be black. And we're all...
Girl, you don't have to whisper when you say black. You can say it with your chest. This is more than magic.
For all of us to be black.
I created this show for us.
For all of us to be black. And we're still feeling like getting treated like that. It was not called for. And it put a little bad taste in my mouth about it, but I was like, you know what? Still, I'm gonna kill them with kindness. I still said hi. I still treated them how I wanted to be treated, and if they felt like however they felt, that has nothing to do with me. I still came out of it making a couple of really good friends out of it with my people that I finally got a chance to actually meet face to face, and I just let that be that.
Yeah.
You can't fix somebody that doesn't want to be fixed, and you can't. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I want to be accepted by people that act like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you lose a part of yourself.
Yeah,
And the
'cause-
trade-off is not worth
Exactly.
it.
The company you keep is the one that people think you are. I don't want people thinking I'm some stuck up little snob. I'm not gonna.
That part.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, it really is the company that you keep, because these are the people that you're getting advice from. These are people that you are, like, confiding in, that are confiding in you. Like, you're brainstorming ideas together. If you got a bad apple and y'all all getting bad apple ideas, then y'all just what? A bunch of bad apples.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And who wants to sit around and collab a world of bad apple?
not
Yeah.
I.
Well, it
Not
affects the
us.
art. It not only affects you as a person, but it affects the art. It affects
Yeah.
the output.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, I've never been the kind of person. If that person has 15 million followers and they act like that, I'm good. I'll take the low subs.
Bye.
I don't need that. Like, not all exposure is good exposure.
Say it again.
And I learned that quick. I was just like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, hey, do you want to do a video with me? No, I'm good. I'll go home and my own videos.
Right. Good for you. Yeah. So do you find, and I don't know if it's okay for you to speak on this, if not, you can just tell me, but do you find, like, when you show up on set to shoot, if you are one of two Black models, do you feel more of, like, camaraderie, or do you still sense in certain places there's, like, because I think there's a tendency sometimes to, some of us want to be the only one, right? We enjoy that. Like, I'm the only one. And oh, now I look and see there's another Black face. So there's like this competition thing. And I've seen that happen, but I've also seen the opposite. What has your experience been?
All of my experiences so far have been very positive. Like, it's
Wonderful.
almost like a sisterly bond.
Yes,
Oh, I love
that's where we need,
that.
yes.
And it's just because, like, why not? We're the only ones here. Like, we might as well
Right.
be friends. Like,
Yeah.
like, you're the only one that understands my pain right now. Like, this is what I, like, hone in on. Like, not even, like, trauma dumping or anything like that. But it's like, if I look at you and you look at me and you know we have that same thought, yeah, we're cool. We're friends.
That's what we did.
Yeah, that's what happened with you too, really? Oh, I love it. This was Golden Sky?
No, this is at Center at the wait no.
Fashion Week? No,
At the-
yeah, Fashion Week. San Antonio Fashion Week.
Yeah, 'cause
The
we
first
finally
one in
got in there.
2015?
Yes.
Yes.
It's crazy. I remember what both of y'all wore.
Yes. Like, we were standing there and they started playing Truffle Water and we were across from each other, like kind of like this, and we looked and we went and then they
I was
stopped.
like, that was that song at that time. And it's like nobody else was dancing. And I'm like,
and it was our little moment and we were like, okay, professional.
I love it, but that's the way we're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
And the reason why I asked you that, it was like wasn't to be messy or anything, but I want, you know, young women to know, especially in our community, like, it is okay to go into a space and embrace your sister,
Right.
and to be
Be
like, you know what,
friendly.
girl, I see you. Even if you're not best friends, you don't have to become best buddies with everyone.
No.
But like when you're working in a professional capacity, like, just show love,
right, because
just
it's
be
like,
kind.
we're there to do the work. We already know what we're there for. Like, why not just make it a little easier? Like, if that's a couple jokes, if that's a couple, you know, a lightheartedness, it adds to the set. And then especially with me being as like a model, I'm usually like very close to these girls, like on set.
Yeah.
So I mean, having that bond already, it's like, it helps with posing, it helps with the environment. Like, if we're catty at each other, the picture's not gonna look good.
It always shows. It always
So,
reflects.
I mean, I feel like that's another reason why you should be more open, because it helps everything go by so much smoother.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't really show if I have like a bad time or a bad attitude, like, because you're gonna see it in my face in the picture. So whenever a picture is taken, I do my best to have like my best like foot forward in regards to my mental space. It's like, I want everybody to know that I'm cool with everybody in here.
Right.
I'm chilling if you're chilling, like, and I try to keep it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so refreshing.
I wish more people would have that attitude, honestly. 'Cause I don't. Have you done any shows in Houston at all?
I haven't. Noted. Noted.
I did one show in Houston because I was the one I told you.
Oh, okay.
I did it over like they said send a video in. I did it in Houston. I don't know. I will never do another Houston show because it's what you just said, the exact opposite. I got there early, I walked in, but this I was so excited because it was an all black cast, and I was excited 'cause I've never done a show with an all black cast, so I'm over here like, ooh.
I don't think I have either.
I saw the designers was good. I was like, ooh, it's gonna be a good show. I
And
sat
it
in my
wasn't?
car and I cried.
No, stop.
And this is why I want to talk about this, because that is not okay.
I've never walked off of a show. I wanted to walk off that show so bad. So I got there, I had my little suitcase. They hated me. Not one person, not one female came up and was like, "Oh, hi. I'm not expecting you to be buddy, hi, how you doing?" I was just walking, just to go to different places in the venue. Got stank face, the hair and makeup people. My face was horrible, jacked up my face. The hair and makeup people didn't care for me. I was outside on the little veranda, and this guy was vlogging, and like he was the first person to talk to me. And I remember I walked to my car and I sat there and I called my mom as I was crying. I felt so like out of place,
Like
with
alienated.
alienated amongst my own people.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling.
And it was horrible. And like I literally was walking back because they said we couldn't park our cars, so I ended up parking my car far away. And the guy that was vlogging, he's like, "Oh, you can park your car in the little circle." And I was like, "Oh, my bad. I didn't know." I was just got back and crying.
Right.
And he was like, "Here, hop in. I'll drive you to your car. You can drive back." And then the rest of that time, I hung out with him and his friends. And all the guys were just like, all the females were looking at me like, ew, ew. And to this day, I go out to Houston. They're like, "Oh, hey, you want to hang out? Hey, you want to chill?" All of them. And there was one girl I actually DM'd because I was a little confused on how things work with the casting. I saw her. She was nice over text. She's like, "Oh, do this." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Saw her. She didn't even look at me. And when it came for me to walk, everybody else walked. I made sure I was the last one to walk because I was just, at that point, I was so timid. But I was like, you know what?
You gotta shut it down.
Let me go ahead and show y'all. I walked, and the one that ran everything went, "That's how you walk." And I was like, now y'all all can hate me.
Right, now
They
give you
knew
something
from the
to-
jump. They knew from the jump. That's where the energy came from.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't want that confirmation, and they got it at the very end.
Right. You said at the beginning of the show that your name means abundance. And I think it's important for us to understand as women, as Black women, that we are innately abundant, but also that we don't have to fight for scraps ever. Like there's so much out there for us each, and that if we work together or support one another, even if it doesn't like benefit us always, like I don't have to benefit from something to big up you or to say, here's an opportunity, or here's okay, this earring's done. To say, I heard about this opportunity, or hey, there's this casting, and I think there's a tendency for people to be catty with one another because they think there's not enough.
Right.
But there's always enough.
Right.
There's always enough.
And that's like, we used to do that with each other. And that's when, like,
I know you did.
if there was a show, like, hey, there's a casting over here. Hey, there's a casting here.
Right.
And we always did. We always bounced off stuff with each other, and it just, I wish it was more like that.
The more the merrier,
yeah,
bro.
like, who wants to walk into a casting by yourself and you're already nervous? I rather, like, I remember she walked in that casting, I was like, oh my God, just kidding me. And like,
Yes.
I automatically, I felt better. I walked better. Because at that, I was just like, I have somebody here that I know that everybody else might be wishing for my downfall, but I have one person that's rooting me on.
Right.
And I wish it was more like that, and it wasn't just like everybody out here looking for themselves.
Yeah, yeah. But you all are creating that. Like, I know that both of you are, like I said earlier, just to give you your props and your flowers, like you're genuinely like nice people, kind people. And people watching this who might be thinking of getting into modeling at some point, who maybe felt like they had to walk around like this, can say, you know what, okay, maybe I can relax a little bit. Because these two sisters are doing it. They're not like, you all met each other and you didn't butt heads. You decided to kind of, have a friendship and support one another. So it is possible.
It is.
And you are doing it. Now, I want to ask you each, like, what is in store? Like, what are some big dreams or goals that you have for the future? I'll start with you, Kennedy.
So I am hoping to eventually become a businesswoman. I would like to get my accessory line up and running, hopefully within the next couple years. And maybe eventually come out with like a scent line, because I feel like those are two things that are very I love jewelry. I love shiny stuff and I love smelling good. And it's just
Yes.
like, if I were to have my own of those two things, and I could just say like, yeah, this is me. Like I put the effort and the work and the design behind this, and I can wear it every day. I just feel like that would complete me.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
It's coming. You're going to do it. You will. I know you will. What about you?
Music.
Yeah, well, I knew because we talked about it. I'm like, I believe in speaking things into fruition. So I think it's good. You know, you don't have to tell everybody every detail of what you're going to do, but it's good to kind of plan. So you say music, it's kind of broad. Do you
Yeah,
sing? Do you play
I-
guitar? Do you play harmonica? No.
I sing. I'm working like I want everything to be perfect before I actually start recording and stuff like that. But like I have a whole like EP idea, like an idea of I'm a big in like astrology signs. I'm a Virgo, and I want this EP to be about the other side of a Virgo and like my personal experiences. And every song is gonna start from my lowest point until where I am now, and it's really like, you know, like special for me, and I'm excited to actually not be afraid but just do it. I wasn't afraid to do TikTok. I'm not gonna be afraid to do this anymore.
Yes.
And so that's my main thing up and coming.
Right.
And y'all need to tap in because this girl can sing. I will be tuning in
Yes.
when it drops.
It's always the people that are super modest, like, yeah, I sing a little bit. And then they're like,
No,
Whitney.
No, literally. Her.
Yeah. Yes. You're going to do it. I know that both of you all are going to do exactly what you say you are. It's going to happen. So I just got the 5-minute sign from our producer. I saw the 5 fingers, like, oh, you're almost out of time. Is there anything, like if there's like a little girl watching both of you now and she's like 7 and she's like, oh, they're so pretty and, you know, they're models and they're content creators. Is there anything you want to leave with, you know, the grown folks, we're still figuring our stuff out, but like if there's because there are young girls who watch the show, is there like a word of advice or wisdom or knowledge that you'd like to leave?
Don't give up and do not be confined into a box. You are bigger than what you think you are, and anything that you can really, honestly, anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish it. And don't take no for an answer.
Yes, I love that. Yes. What about you, Kennedy?
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Don't take no for an answer, like she said, and put your all into it. If it's worth it, put your all into it every time.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, well, you all heard it here. Thank you so much for being here. I know that you all are both busy and have full lives and probably have family that wants to spend time with you and significant others. So I really appreciate you taking a Saturday of all days to come and spend time with me. I love you both. I adore you. I support you in all the things that you do. And I already know that the things that you've spoken here are going to just continue to grow and flourish. And you deserve it all. Like, you deserve the world. So go get it. Thank you both for being here. Thank you, everyone. Me and my one earring are signing off. Again, this is More Than Magic. We are, just to remind you, this is a space for specifically, everyone's free to watch. Join the party. But this space has been created so that Black women have an opportunity to share our hopes and our dreams, the things that we're really passionate about, the things that we want to see happen in this world. So please take a moment to like this, share it to your networks, wherever you may be, and we'll see you next week. All right? Peace. Bye. Oh, y'all are so wonderful.
That was fun.
And it goes by so quickly.
I know.